guys, welcome back to my channel. So I've mentioned in past videos that I've been really into Euphoria lately. I just love the show. I love the fashion, I love the characters, I love the music. I just really like everything about it. So when Hero from Kairo's workshop asked me if I wanted to partake in a Rainbow High Euphoria collab, I was like, duh, because I love both those things. There's some super talented YouTube doll artists in this collaboration. We have Moonlight Jewel, Kairo's Workshop, and Blank Space Dolls. And I love everyone's doll that they made because, of course I would, because it's Euphoria. But I'm a little biased, okay, with this collaboration. I'm just saying. But I think everybody did a great job. They're all linked down below for your viewing pleasure, so check them out. I wanted to just make a doll inspired by the characters, or specifically one character, but it was hard because I really like a lot of characters from the show. I feel like the only characters I don't like are like Nate Jacobs and the scary drug dealer teacher lady, because she just like haunts my dreams. But I like a lot of characters. I think my favorite is probably Maddie, and I wanted to, like, I lean towards her, but I think aesthetically I like Jules more, like just fashion wise, it's just more my thing. So I decided to make a Jules inspired doll. I have a lot of favorite Jules looks, but I think my favorite is this. I feel like this is kind of obscure because it was only on the screen for like maybe like a minute, but the look where when Jules and Rue are burning Nate Jacobs alive, I think that specific look is my favorite. And I tried to, initially I wanted to kind of try to recreate that look, but I just couldn't find like the right fabric and stuff, so I'm only doing a look inspired by that look. For a base, we're going to be using a Rainbow Junior High doll. I picked up a Violet Willow one recently, and I love them. I don't know if you guys have seen them, but they're like little Rainbow High dolls, and they're like so stinking cute. I kind of like them better than the big Rainbow High dolls a little bit. But this one specifically is inspired by Britney Spears, and she's my queen, so it was meant to be. I wanted to show you this doll compared to a Gen 1 Rainbow High doll. So they look very similar. The Rainbow High doll is just a little bit curvier in the waist, but the joints are definitely upgraded. So in the Gen 1 doll, the leg joint was not actually double jointed, but this doll it is. And the neck joint would only go back and forth, but now it goes back and forth and up and down. I just wanted to point out that I think that MGA actually listens to their consumers when they critique something, which is nice. I did the basics of prepping her, so I cut off all her hair, and then I put her head in hot water so that I could soften up the vinyl. And before I pop her head off, I actually wanted to squeeze the eyeballs out through the front.
Her, and there's nothing you can do about it. He's like, all right, sure, see ya. So they take her.
So tell me about your mom. Yeah, she's the first one to email me on my birthday.
We're actually going to be painting on top of the eyes, which I saw Papa Natelier do recently, and it turned out pretty good. So I wanted to give it a go. So I didn't want to ruin the eyeballs with acetone or anything when I take the paint off. I warmed up her head again, popped her head off, and then scraped around the inside of her head with a screwdriver. And the neck hole was a little bit too big, so I cut in the back of the head with an X-Acto blade and pulled all the hair out through that with my needle nose pliers. Like I mentioned earlier, I have to wipe off all her paint with some 100% acetone, so that's just what I did. Her sculpt is adorable. I kind of saw that coming because it's Rainbow High. I do wish though, like, I find all the Rainbow High sculpts really cute, but I wish that they would come up with something that is quite a bit different, because all their sculpts, they have different sculpts, but they're all pretty similar. And yeah, just to switch it up a little bit, you know. I put her eyeballs back in. This was very difficult. It took me like 20 minutes and my hands were killing me afterwards. I found if I squeezed it towards the inner corner first, that helped the most, and that's what eventually got them back in, but it was kind of a nightmare. I almost gave up and gave her inside eyes, but I didn't. We kept pushing, quite literally, and eventually got in. To prep her hair for eventual wefts, I painted her scalp black. On to the face up. So I sprayed the doll 3 times with Mr. Super Clear, waiting 15 minutes between each spray and wearing a respirator mask, and we get on to painting. I start with the eyes. I'm sticking with the eye mold because I couldn't really do a lot with it because the eyes are so defined, because it still has those inside eyes in there. So I'm just basically sketching around that mold. Once I add the white, it's gonna look really weird for a little bit, and then I'm gonna fix it, so just ignore that. Do you guys have a favorite Euphoria character? Like I said, my favorite is Maddie, but I think my second favorite is actually Fez. He just feels very familiar to me. He reminds me of guys from my hometown, and his living room is like so cozy. It's sort of like my grandmom's living room growing up, so I like Fez. I shade around the eyes and just the general face with browns, pinks, reds, blues, whites, and purples. With a super sharp light blue Faber-Castell pencil, I added veins around her face. I've mentioned this before, but I really like the Faber-Castell pencils if you want very thin lines. They get very sharp and they don't give you the darkest lines, but that's kind of what I want for this. They do give you very sharp lines though, because the lead is so hard. Not the lead, whatever it is on the inside is so hard. I tapped a bit of black pastel on the inner and outer portion of the lid to define it even more. After adding a ton of pastel on top of my initial red lines, you can't really see them, so I'm going over top of them with a dark purple pencil. I wanted her skin to be a little bit more skin-like looking, so I added a tiny bit of light purple to the forehead and around the eyes. I'm finally bringing the lash line down a little bit with a purple pencil so there isn't that weird white gap. I wanted her to have bright eyeshadow on. Instead of layering that up with pastels, I just went on top of her lid with a bright orange gouache. I would also like to say that during this video, unfortunately, I broke my magnifying glass that's always on the right side. Whenever you guys see my videos, that thing right there, I broke it. So I just wanted to say rest in peace, magnifying glass head thing. You will be sorely missed. I ordered a new one that is pretty much exactly the same, but you will be missed. With a white pencil, I highlighted around her eyes and face, and with a nude pencil, I added a highlight to the very middle of her waterline. I colored her eyes in with blue pencils, but I'm going to change this in a little bit because I'm going to go in with gouache. I want to give her some thick little black brows, so that's what I did. With a light peach pencil, I added some quick flicks of lines on the upper and lower lips to mimic lip lines. Lately, when I've been painting dolls with really big eyes, I've been laying down gouache paint. This just sort of speeds up the process of putting down color, and it also gives me a really vibrant color that I really like. So I went from a darker sort of purple to a blue. I'm super new to gouache, and I am not great at blending with it, but we're trying, okay? I'm trying my best. I began highlighting around the eyes where I put down pencil with some paint to accentuate it. I painted some quick flicks of lip wrinkles on her upper and lower lips. I find doing this as quickly as possible works the best for me, because if I sit there and sort of try to add very precise lines in a very calculated way, it just doesn't look great. I tapped a bit of black below her upper lid to add some more shading to her eyes. I like taking this metallic rose gold watercolor pencil and just coloring in the waterline a little bit. It makes it look shiny and watery. For a bit of shimmer on the eyeshadow, I applied some orange Perlux pigment. She needs some pupils, so we're going to add some circles to the middle of her eyes. I did this first with purple and then I went back over it with black. For highlights on the eyes, we're flicking some pink radiating out from the pupil. Painting this doll's eyes was kind of hard because the eyes are so 3D because they're inset. It was just hard to sort of center things. It was just a very round surface to paint on. I've been really enjoying the fuzzy ring around the eye that I've been doing lately, so I'm taking some black paint and just adding flicks of black going all around the iris. To give her some light to the middle of her eyes, I flick some white paint to highlight that area. I've never seen rainbow high dolls without 3D lashes, so I wasn't sure how this was gonna go, but I drew on her upper lashes. I just prefer drawn on lashes over 3D ones, and I think this turned out pretty good. Yeah, I really like it. I think a lot of doll artists don't really touch rainbow high dolls because they don't do inset eyes, and these dolls have inset eyes. But if you guys want to try out this method of just painting on top of the inset eyes, like, it works really well. It's a little weird because the surface is so 3D, but aside from that, like, it's pretty much the same exact thing. It's worth a try, I think. I added a bit of metallic duochrome blue and purple watercolor to her pupils. I really like this kind of pointy eyeshine that I've been doing lately, so we're doing it for this doll as well. I paint a little pop of color below her eye shines with some hot pink watercolor. For a final step of highlights, I added white dots on various places around her face. So of course, since this is Euphoria, we need some glitter, we need some hollow stuff. So this is my favorite Euphoria Jules look. It's one of my favorite looks from the show. So I wanted to do something like this, but not quite, like a little bit different. So I cut some hollow vinyl and I put that in her very like inner corners around her nose bridge. With a bit of glue as well, I am adding chunky glitter to the middle of her pupil. A final step for this face up is some Vallejo gloss on the lips. It took me a minute to love this face up just because the eyes are so big and so 3D. It was just like, she's staring into my soul. Y'all know I love a good body blushing, so I'm using the same tones that I used on her face, on her body. As I said earlier, I tried to at first recreate this look, but I just couldn't find any fabric that would work. So I decided to do something that's inspired, and I wanted to use just like a colorful pattern and sort of have the same silhouette of clothing. So that's what we're doing. I went to my local fabric store. I have this rainbow high jacket from Sunny, and I wanted to use the pattern. I did shrink it down a little bit because the rainbow high and junior high dolls are a little bit different sized, but it ended up working out really well. If you guys are new to sewing, a good way to get patterns is just taking apart clothing that you already have. I sewed the top and the bottom of the front together, good side to good side. This jacket has the illusion of pockets, so I'm sewing a little piece of fabric at the middle of the front, good side to good side, and I hemmed everything as well with some fabric glue. I got these clips recently from my local fabric store, and I know I'm like late to everything with sewing because I'm horrible at it, but these are so useful. The jacket had very obvious stitching on it, so I'm trying to recreate that with some black thread. We sewed the collar on, good side to good side, as well as the sleeves. I sewed another piece of the pattern fabric to the bottom of the sleeve. As a final touch for this jacket, I sewed up the side seam. Onto shorts, so I modified a Monster High pattern that I have for her. As per usual, I hem things with glue. It's just the easiest, fastest way to hem things, and I'll never go back. I wanted the bottom of her shorts to be laced up, so I'm using my grommet kit. I think I need to get like slightly larger ones because these ones are like itty bitty, and they're great for doll scale, but I feel like they're to a point where like it's hard to lace things up because they're so small. This is the end result. It's not perfect, but it'll do the job. I sewed the front and the back of the shorts together at the crotch. For the back of the shorts though, I only sewed it halfway up the crotch so that I can add fasteners later. Then we sewn them together good side to good side up the side seam. Once that's done, we sew the V of the legs together and we flip it. Off camera, I made her some belt loops and a belt, and those are her shorts. I wanted her to have a bikini top, so I sewed a strip of vinyl to a ring. Cut a piece of vinyl for a cup, and I sewed that to the strip as well. On the other side, I did basically the same exact thing, but I sewed the two sides together at the ring. Since her top is see-through, I'm going to be adding a little bit of fabric with some glue on to the opposite side. The final step was adding grommets to the top and a ring around the grommets and a chain to attach the two sides of the top. This is almost the final outfit. I did change the lace or the string that I used to lace up her shorts at the bottom. I changed it out for some gold thread, and we need to give this bald baby some hair. So I wanted to do kind of a two-tone hair thing. This is a bit inspired by Etalon's Bratz doll, the hair from that doll. So I'm going to be doing a colorful root look. I'm giving her a base color of black, and I want her to have like a bob and like some baby doll bangs. I think that's what they're called when they're like really short. So I'm doing the bangs first, and I'm cutting them so I don't get like a little bit confused, but I'm going in soon after with some orange. I've never done bangs before on a doll, so this is the first, and I feel like the key to them is to kind of have them sort of thin. I feel like the worst thing is when you have like a giant chunky bang. I've seen that with yarn hair before, so I'm trying to be sort of minimalist with it. And I'm going all around the head with black until I get to the part, and then I'm taking a weft of orange and flipping it over backwards on each side. I trim the hair. For the part, I'm going to be taking an X-Acto blade, and I'm just razoring down the orange really thin so that it looks like it's from roots. I wanted to give her crisscrossy bobby pins on either side of her head, so I took actual bobby pins and I cut the lower part of them with a wire cutter and glued them together in a cross. Taking hot glue, I glued that to the top of her head. Since this is Euphoria and it's supposed to take place in high school, I don't know about y'all, but I just like to imagine that Euphoria is a bunch of people in an alternate dimension that are 25 and for some reason still in high school, because can't relate to the things they're doing, but she needs a backpack. So I made her one from So Doll Creations backpack pattern on Etsy. I'm gonna link it down below. It's pretty inexpensive and easy to follow, but I wanted to decorate it with wings because Jules has like a wings look that I really like. It's just a recreation of what is that weird Romeo plus Juliet movie for the Halloween look. So I'm gonna give her some wings on her backpack as sort of an ode to that. I glued two sides of the wings together with some fabric glue, and then at first I glued the wings to the backpack, but I ended up sewing them in the end because it just was a little bit more reinforcement. For shoes, I just used the shoes that she came with and painted them in the colors of her look. With all of that, she is done. I am really happy to have partaken in this collaboration because, again, it's two things that I really like, Rainbow High and Euphoria. It was just a cool opportunity. So definitely go check out my co-collab people. They're linked down below. Tell me if you watch Euphoria, if you like Euphoria, who's your favorite character, who's your least favorite character. Do you like the direction the show is going in? Did you like the season finale if you saw it of season 2? It broke my little heart, but yeah. So I hope you guys like this video. If you like this video, subscribe. It makes me happy, and I hope you guys are having a beautiful day. Bye.